packaging up today's orders, and one of them includes this challenge that I'm doing to myself, which is shop my stash. So, I mean, I am shopping my stash, going through my stash, and looking for things that I can use in projects that I have sitting around. And also, I'm putting together lots for other people to use. And this is just some of the items that are in the lot that sold today. And this one sold for $25, which I think is really fair because it's at least 45 pieces. Most, if not all, are true vintage ephemera and embellishments. Here, let me show you. Here's a more close-up picture of everything. And this one sold on Poshmark. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of coordinate it together in a theme and then sell. So this is literally shop my stash. I want others to be able to shop my stash, and I'm also shopping my stash at the same time. So while I'm pulling out things for projects, I'm also putting together lots for other people to use because I just have way too much, and there's like so much possibilities for these sort of craft lots. I mean, they're just for somebody else that is just hyper creative. And so this is how I'm going about it. So this is the challenge I'm giving myself. Today's theme is Christmas. Bella, are you joining? So not to disappoint you, but I am not one of those people that has their stuff like perfectly organized. And so let me show you why I need to work on this and why it is overwhelming me right now creatively. Okay, so in my office, I have all of this, which is getting in the way of me actually being able to do my day-to-day work. So take photos, sell things on eBay and Poshmark. There's a lot in my stash that is already ready to sell. I just have to get it photographed and listed, but it's hard to access it with all this extra materials. A lot of the extra materials that are getting in the way are just that, materials to make projects. And the vast majority of what I need to sort through by shopping my stash is these extra materials. So I gave myself this shelf in the garage specifically for junk journaling supplies, and I was to not exceed this shelf. But I have far exceeded that shelf, and it gets confusing because I do more than just junk journaling. So I do upcycling too. And so in the garage, this is what now I've been referring to as my corner of doom, but it's like even not funny anymore at this point because I actually do and have actively been tackling it, but it's just so overwhelming. So everything in this corner is supplies for upcycling, crafting, and junk journaling. The junk journaling has filled this rack, and this is all junk journaling stuff. And I'm actually focusing heavily on junk journaling for this series because that's what I'm interested in making, is making journals, journal accessories, digital files for journals, all of that. And I may even be making like invitations and other things. But the point is, I have to sort through this stuff and I have to go through it. And if I get to some of the upcycling stuff, that's just an added bonus. But I really want to be able to get some of this to somebody else that can use it, that will appreciate it. So welcome to this new series, Shop My Stash. I hope that if you are somebody that struggles with this, maybe you can do it right alongside with me. Maybe you can shop your stash while I shop mine. Or if you're somebody that's interested in getting things like you don't have access to some of these vintage papers and things like this that you'll see in my stash, by all means, shop my stash. I would love to see you at the shop, and I will give you a really good discount because I'm just so thrilled that this stuff is getting used. So let's see what we find. As I go through these bins, I find stuff that I don't even understand why I purchased it, like all these tiny little miniature hats. And so I can just go ahead and take those and put them in the recycle or donation bin. That would probably be a great candidate for the recycle store. And then there are other things that I come across and I'm like, oh, I forgot that I had this, and it'll inspire a project. I'm hoping the more I do this, the more I can do both, inspire projects and just go ahead and shed off the things that it's like, why did I get this? Why am I holding on to this? I don't need this. And the more I go into these bins, the more I will be able to do that. But when it just sits here out in the garage, I mean, I don't know what's out here because I just kind of close the door and forget about it. And then at some point, the urge to go shopping comes upon me and I give in to that urge, and then I go get more stuff and I don't realize like what I already have sitting here. So I'm trying to address that in this series. The hardest part is it's overwhelming, it's very tedious, and it's very boring work, and I still have the urge to like go out and do something fun, exciting, and a lot of times the easiest thing to do is like go to an estate sale or thrift store because that's fun and it's interesting and I find it exciting, especially the estate sales, but I have to deal with this stuff. I have to find a way to pare down my shopping, which is hard because I have to shop for my job. Like I have to get inventory to sell, so, but I have to resist the urge to buy more, basically useless stuff that gets me excited in the moment, and then I hoard it and I don't use it. All right, this may seem counterintuitive, but I need to go for a walk. All right, I'm gonna take these to the post office, and then while I'm out shipping these, I'm gonna go for the walk and I'll show you why. I like to go for a walk before I do anything creative or do a workout, some sort of physical activity, because it's just scientifically proven that it boosts creativity. It helps me to have more clarity in my thoughts. And so I just think this trail is particularly interesting because of all the greenery. I mean, it's so pretty, and I get very much restored when I'm out in nature. And these nature trails are kind of like the closest thing I have in an urban area to feel like I'm in nature. But what's cool about this trail is some of the houses, they are right off, like their backyard is right to the trail. And I like looking at some of the houses just because I think they're inspiring. And there's one up here that has a shed that I wanted to show you. I love this shed. It looks like, basically it looks like a shed meets a little log cabin, and I just think it is so cool. I would love to have a shed like that. I could make YouTube videos. I could store my craft supplies. I could have a little art studio. I love that, and be like out in nature. Of course, you gotta throw on some music and power through the rest of the walk, but never forget, touch something while you're out in nature. It's like an instant stress buster. All right, let's get back to the house. Okay, so I finally have everything out that is Christmas that I want to sort through. This has Christmas in it, and then this, and this bin. And I'm going to be really strict and challenge myself to keep only what I can fit in this bin, and then I have to donate, put together lots for other people to use, or get rid of the rest. So this is going to be very hard for me. Here's a good example. I don't need to keep this, but let heaven and nature sing. I kind of like that, so maybe what I'll do is just take a picture of that and I'll work that into one of my other designs. Boom. Done. This, I use this in a different design, and I didn't use it all, but that's okay. I can just recycle this. So, boom, I can recycle these. We're making progress. These vintage pages, they're cute, but I don't think they're cute enough to sell, and I am not going to use them either, so going to get rid of. This I did, I painted on there. I like this. I might use this in something like a digital design, so I'll at least photograph it, and then I may include it in a lot. Here's a difficult one. So I like this. I was going to use it in a junk journal, but the rest I'm not really thrilled about, so I think I'll just cut out this portion and recycle the rest. This, trash. This, I like it, but it looks like I got paint on it here, so I have to decide, do I really want to work with it, or do I want to get rid of it and start fresh? I don't know. And this is where the decisions start to add up. I was able to find some fabric like this plaid one that I have enough to just sell in a like as yardage. There's a decent amount. I wanted it, but I don't need it. These, I thought I could make journal covers with them. They're quilted, and then any extra I can sell. I pulled these hair accessories that I made that weren't selling, and I think I want to add some of them to journal covers. And then the ones that I don't want to work with, I'm just going to lot them all up and see if somebody wants to have all of them. These are the two I'm going to use for journal covers. I wonder what is in all these bags. It's just so random, and I can only do so much in one day, but a lot of them are kind of pre-sorted by like projects I was going to do, and when I go back through it, I'm like, do I really want to do that? I have a lot of faux like greenery and all that, but I'm not doing home decor anymore, so I can just purge most all of that unless I'm going to use the faux greenery for like a journal, maybe save a tiny bit, but I really could get rid of most all of it. What else could I use faux greenery for? Cinnamon sticks. I'm afraid to open those because I feel like they're going to attract bugs. I don't even know if they're made out of real cinnamon. What am I going to do with all that many Chanel sticks? Who needs that many? Why do they sell them in bags that big? I don't want that fabric. Okay, I'm over this project at this point, but I'm in it. I'm already in it at this point. I still like these penguin images, and like that snowman one, I want to use that in a journal, so I'm just kind of setting aside the ones that I am going to work with. I think some of the like kid type ones I could do in a kid's journal, but I decided just to go ahead and let those go. That's the kind of problem with my brain. I'll always come up with like something I can make with it, and that's the issue. I have to just start making hard decisions like, is this really what I want to keep? Is this really what I want to work on? Because all the extra stuff is bogging me down, and it's hampering the ability to create things because I just feel so overwhelmed when I'm in my office, in the garage, even in my dining room. It's like I have tons of stuff on the table almost all the time. So this is turning into a bit of a project, and it's been a problem for a while. I'm just kind of I'm just trying to make more progress on it than I've been avoiding it for a little while. A lot of these I could use in a Christmas journal, so I think I'm just gonna, instead of sorting through every last little bit, I think I'm just gonna make like macro sort. Do you know what I mean? Like put all like things together, and I think that's gonna be the easiest ways that I can see. Like these are all fabrics, great, let's put them all together. Let's put all the tiny little embellishments, keep those all together. And I don't want to get rid of my fabrics. Like this cupcake one I really like, and I like the paper doll one, so I'm not going to force myself to get rid of those. I've only had them for like 1 year. No problem, I can keep those, but there is more fabric that I could get rid of. So I did already list and sell, I think, 1 or 2 lots I can show you here, but fabric is one thing I'm not really great at getting myself to part with, but I have made some improvements. I have gotten rid of so far 5 full bins in my garage. Not all of fabric, but like of supplies. So it's getting harder because the things I find tend to be things I still like. Okay, so after sorting all of this, I've decided to go 3 different, maybe 4 different routes with it. But one, I've been filling my trunk with just stuff that I can send to the recycle center. So we have like an art recycle center here, and these would seem like useless to your average person. But if I send these to the recycle center, they sell these like craft supplies, and even like this, obviously I need to just get out of there, but all the trim, and like little embellishments, somebody else could use these. So if I get it to the recycle center, they sort that all by categories. So they like have trim all together, scrapbooking, crafting. They have different sections for all the different things. And then they even have a section for teachers, which is cool. So this is going to the recycle center. And this I'm donating. It's a decent amount of fabric, but I don't want it. And then over here, this also recycle center. And then over here, I have this little bin and this bin of, this is like my stuff that I'm going to craft with for this Christmas season. And then in here is my overstock. So whatever after I'm done crafting, I have to put everything in here. And I believe all of that will fit in here. But the papers, I'll probably have to fold them down. But I'm hoping I can just make 1 to 2 Christmas themed journals and go through the bulk of this. And I also want to make Christmas tags. And so I think this will be plenty for that. And then I can have extra for next season. And then over here is what I found for other people to use. The only thing I found was I could cut the fabric into small pieces for people that are going to use it in crafting and junk journaling, decorative. So small cuts of fabric that I can just sell all together in 1 or 2 lots. But like this, for example, this is the fabric that I'm using to make one of my journals, but I don't need to. And so it's a decent size. It's enough for a journal cover. And then some of them are smaller, like, let's see. Well, that one might be about the same size. I think this one was the small one. So it's like this strip, but I just thought, well, I don't want to recycle this. This could just be like a little add-on for a crafter. And so this could also be a really cute lot for somebody that wants to do some Christmas quilting, because a lot of these are quilting cotton, but I really picture it going to a crafter, but it would make an interesting patchwork design. But then these two are larger pieces, so I may just sell these together, but I don't have to decide that right now. The point is, a lot of this stuff is leaving, which lightens my load, and I'm going to call this a success. Okay, so these are the 2 journal covers that I have started, and they're not complete, but I need to put some trim or seam binding around the raw edges of this one. But this one, I do have it on there, but I feel like I want to distress it or do something else, and I obviously need to add something else to the cover, which I don't know what that's going to be. So then I did all of these journal tags using a lot of the fabric that I found. So that was good, but I still have too much fabric, but thankfully it just fits in my extra bin. And I decided to go with this bin for all of my like overflow Christmas stuff, because it fit in there nicely, and that way the papers all fit in there too without me like having to fold them down. So this is a good stopping point. The journal tags, you can see like they're really plain. I still want to add graphics to them and like further embellish them, but I'm going to come back and do that on the next video, because I'm just really tired from all the sorting, and this took me a lot longer than I thought. But I will go ahead and post the items that I'm not going to use in my shop, and I hope that I can find more in other categories. But I'm going to consider this a success, because the recycle center will be able to use these. I'm sending lots of donations to my local charity shop, which I love donating to because the causes are so good. They work directly with the homeless in our area, and then they also help women who are struggling to get out of abusive relationships. So they help with like domestic violence, providing shelter for women that are struggling with domestic violence. So I try to give them like the good stuff, you know what I mean? Like stuff that if it's not clean, if it's damaged, all this sort of stuff, I'm not giving it to them, but if it's something they can sell and they can give their cause, absolutely. And that's a great way for me to get rid of stuff because I feel good about that process, you know? And so I didn't have a lot to sell online in this Christmas batch, but I'm sure I will find more. And when I do, I will just go ahead and post it. And I'll show you some of the Christmas stuff that I already have posted, just so you can have an idea of the sort of things that I've been finding, because I've been finding stuff before this video came out. But yes, I'm thrilled to lighten my load, and I hope to make more progress, and I'll update you as I go along. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you later.